Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Dicewarmers Podcast, where we talk of all things geeky occasionally. I'm Vas, and with me is Kaz
Hello.
and David.
Hello. Hello
Yay!
there.
And we're finally here, guys.
I know.
Finally.
Been a while coming, but we're here.
There are a couple of recordings that will probably never see the light of day because they're goddamn awful, even worse than whatever this will end up being.
Oh, I don't know.
We've had practice, so I think this will be the best one. I think.
Yeah. So
Fingers crossed.
should we start by telling people what they should expect from this podcast?
What can they expect?
Apart from chaos and random thoughts and inside jokes that they probably won't get.
Yeah. Go on then, you start.
Talking to me or talk to Vas?
I don't care. Someone.
What I was going to say.
Okay,
generally-
so I think what this podcast basically is we get together like once a week or once a month or whenever, and we basically talk about our lives and interspersed with geeky things that happen in our lives because we're major geeks. That's basically
Yeah.
what this podcast is. So expect to find a lot of stuff about like role playing games, tabletop games, movies, whatever the fuck David is doing that week.
Whatever
and-
TV show he's watching at the time,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
That
like
is-
whatever
we
whatever
throw down.
cooking show David is watching with his family.
And the dog.
And the dog, yeah, of course.
Well, the dog's part of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Expect a lot of swearing, so this is definitely not you know, a PG rated podcast.
I'd say 15. Sometimes 18.
I
Yeah.
don't
It
know.
depends on the topic.
Depends on
but-
the yeah.
We'll I think we'll score it like on a scale of Davids, like of 5 Davids.
And that's still even that's
Depending-
still like
depending on
Yeah,
how
but,
much
ballet.
yeah, but 5 Davids is pretty mellow. The more Davids you get, the more mellow it seems to get.
Oh, is it?
I think
Okay,
so, yeah. David's proper
so
mellow.
less than, like one David is like, oh my god, they dropped the F bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my goodness! And then the further you go up to David's scale, the more confusing it gets.
And the
Okay.
chaos has
I mean-
started.
We're gonna try to have some structure in our podcast. It probably won't happen,
Never.
but you know, we'll try to have some structure. I think that the biggest thing that happened to our lives this week, well, I feel my life, because Kaz has a boyfriend apparently, and you know, it's so
Okay.
Well,
special.
not apparently, he's not made up.
Well,
Not from Canada.
we know he's not made up.
He's
But,
from
like-
Canada. He visits once a year, but because of lockdown, he's not been round recently, okay?
He's from another. Yeah, you haven't seen him because the lockdown, guys.
The lockdown's the reason you've never seen him.
The travel corridor is finally down.
No, this
so-
picture of us together is not photoshopped. I don't care if he's got a mountain in the background and I have a field behind me. It's not photoshopped, guys. It's not.
Anyway,
random
so
guy
the biggest
walking
thing that happened to our lives this week was actually, I think, the successful start of our book club.
Yes.
Who
It was the
thought?
start of it, but I didn't think it was very successful.
No, but I mean, like, we actually did it. Like, we started the thing, and we went through with it, which is amazing for us because we
Yeah.
tend to procrastinate forever.
In a
Well,
month
yeah,
turnaround
This
as
thing's
well.
been going for 2 years, and this is the first proper recording.
All right.
2020 was a good start for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It was the book. I'm gonna butcher.
No, I'm not
his
talking
name.
about the book.
No,
Right,
fuck,
we're just
fuck
gonna-
that.
We're just gonna say it
We
involves
talk about the book,
ribbons,
we'll be book
confusing.
shaming.
We can give our audience the spoiler-free review about Rivers of London. Don't read it. There's no need. Just
Just
don't,
skip to the
don't
next book.
bother. I mean,
To be honest, I didn't actually finish the book in time for the recording because I was not
that's how
gripped
bad
enough.
it was.
That's how bad it was. I love reading,
Yes.
but I struggled to get through the book, and in the end, I actually missed the whole part of the story because it started at chapter 13, and there were only 15 chapters of the book.
Yeah.
So I didn't
Yeah,
actually get the gist of the story until the
Ah,
very
you-
end, which I
Use
missed.
your
finished-
reactions.
You stopped at the best part there, Kaz.
I did
mean,
finish it though.
chapters 14 and 15 are where the book really picks up. And
Despite the spoilers that you guys gave me, that I genuinely thought that you'd made up because they were so ridiculous.
you actually said,
still
I
read
don't
it.
care, give me spoilers.
Yeah, I know, and I still
So
read
it's
it.
your fault.
Oh no, I haven't got a problem with it. I still read the book though. It was.
I still
Yeah.
might give the second one a chance and see if it actually gets any better.
I
Same as
will
Or
not.
maybe we could do it later in the year for the book
what
club.
if I read it and then I come to you guys and I say, you know what, the second book is amazing. It's like written by a different author.
No,
It's
because
not sexist.
no,
It's
hang
not-
on. Because I think what you would do is you would go through the misery and you'd think, Kaz needs to deal with this misery. I will tell her it's a good book, so she reads it. And then when she finds out it's a bad book, I'm not
I'm
in the
gonna be like,
misery alone.
Just read the little excerpt at the very front at
gotcha.
the end of the book.
Exactly. I know what you're like. I've known you for years.
I would.
I know exactly what you're
I
like.
wouldn't do that. Not because I respect you, but because I respect me. And I wouldn't waste my time reading a book that's bad. Well, I've done it already once.
Well, yeah.
Um,
It was your book choice.
it was my book choice, but it wasn't
You
my
didn't have
fault.
any choice but to read the book.
I blame Chaosium.
Oh,
They're gonna release a role playing game
Yeah,
based
but
on Rivers of
as long as
London.
it's not written by him, it's fine.
I
I'd
think
be more than happy to play it.
he does have some involvement in the development of the series, but I think Lynn Willis is doing the Lynn Willis, Lynn Hardy. I'm butchering her name now. I'm so sorry, Lynn. I'll Google it.
oh,
Cthulhu's going to get you for that one.
Nah, Cthulhu and Ari are friends. It's fine.
Either way, as long as it's not written by him, I think I'll be okay. I just don't like his writing or editing style.
Yeah, there we go. It's Lynn Hardy, basically, is writing that. Well, she's going to be the line editor, I think, for that.
oh, thank goodness there's an editor involved. Oh. Honestly,
You laugh, but there are so many parts in the book where they are missing a word from a sentence.
Yeah,
I think the very first one was like page 70 or 80 something, and I nearly gave up reading the book then.
I think the words that are missing are coming in a future DLC.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
it's a light.
I gotta pay extra for those words.
No, it's a free DLC. It's a free
it's
DLC.
free. Oh, that's okay then.
Yeah.
Is that on the new version of the print?
They released a crappy book, so they're patching it in. It's like, you know how games are done these days.
Yeah. Look at the new CD Projekt Red. I mean, oh no.
Well, can you imagine if the printer sends you like little stickers that you put over the words?
They're like little flap things, aren't they? Because they can't go over the top of things. Oh. I genuinely believe they should do that. It happened like 3 times. That's the thing. It's not like it was once and I could forget about it, but every time I forget about it, it would happen again. I'd think, who edited this book? Because they did a shockingly bad job of it.
Probably no one. I mean, look, it's the guy's first book, so probably he didn't have
I don't know if it's his first book.
No, he did the Doctor Who stuff, didn't he? Before
he's been a writer for a while.
It is his first book in this series.
Oh,
I
in
don't know
this
if it's
series.
his first book. So maybe he didn't have an amazing deal for this book, and the budget was, I don't know,
self-edited, self-produced.
It might have been self-editing. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
The way it's written, at least at the beginning, is it just mentions 2 books, whether or not he was part of a 2-book deal at the time, and then they said, "Oh, would you like to continue right at the very end?"
Because they're so amazing, we'd like to sign you up for more.
And they probably got hired on the concept. Like,
I don't know. Look. None of us can write. We're giving like this book like too much grief. I think it's not an awful book.
Wait, none of us can write. You can write.
Hey, what are you talking about? I can write.
Okay, none of us have published
anything.
You. Okay. I mean, a lot of people can write. I mean, if you went to school, you can write.
Whether that be poorly or...
But yeah, it is a lot harder than it seems writing a proper book. And I mean, it's not a masterpiece like War and Peace, yeah, but it's not a bad book. Like, I've read worse books than Rivers of London. At least it had some redeeming elements in it. And I know we said we're not going to talk about the book, but we're talking about the book now.
Yeah. Is there any other books you've sort of spied, or even if it's like handbooks or anything like that, you've sort of seen and wanted to read?
Handbooks, as in role playing game
Yeah.
handbooks. Or...
Swiftly moving on. Yes.
oof. There's lots of stuff that I'm anticipating, like the new Achtung Cthulhu, the 2D20 version that's supposed to come out this year.
Could that be the one
So
that you have to have maybe or may not have a role in? I'm not sure.
that's the one I need to get my ass down and finish writing the freaking scenario. Yeah, that's the same system. Another thing I was really excited about, and I didn't know it was a thing, is a setting called Apocathulu. So it's basically apocalypse, after something has gone terribly wrong, like a Cthulhu thing. So you know how you saved the world in the last campaign we did.
Yeah.
Imagine if you didn't, and that's the world you play in.
That
So
sounds awesome.
the ritual succeeded. The gate opened, and the great old ones now like rule the earth. So you're playing as the last remnants of humanity that are still fighting, and yeah, it's basically like a dystopian future where mythos things have gone bad or gone well, depending on where you stand. Um, yeah, and it looks
Really
it,
cool.
it looks really cool, and it's using a version of the Delta Green rules, the Arc Dream Publishing engine. I can't remember the name of the engine now, but it's got some really cool ideas, and it's quite close to the Call of Cthulhu engine. So it's basically
Okay.
like a D100 roll below your skill engine, but it has a lot of things to make it more like concrete and speed up the combat and make it more lethal, and uh, it feels more like Mad Max.
Oh, okay. That sounds a
Yeah,
little bit more.
I really like I've only read the quick start rules because I haven't bought the book because it currently is only available on I can't speak, print on demand, and it's quite expensive because it is a big book, and I think it comes around to like $60 for print on demand. Uh, but yeah, that's definitely on my radar for things to buy and use. Uh, yeah,
Anything?
David, anything on your radar?
For me, it's definitely those Pathfinder books, but more specifically the ones that expand maybe the.
Those Pathfinder books. Do you want to be more specific for our audience who doesn't
Oh.
watch our chats, our private chats?
Oh
And
yeah.
also for me, who doesn't pay attention to what anybody's saying ever,
Oh wow! Thanks, guys.
I struggle.
So Paizo announced a plethora of books coming out next year, and some of them expand to say the Lost Omens world, which, as I say, I've read a bit of it. Not too much a fan. That's myself reading into it. But there were other ones like Secrets of Magic, Guns and Gears, which gives us two classes. And as I say, a lot of what I love about the book specifically is that whereas I might buy something for Wizards of the Coast specifically, and it may give you maybe like 2 or 3 additional things, with Paizo books, at least you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff like equipment, items, magic, everything in those books. Like, that's why I love them. They're so content rich. But yeah, the ones I'm looking forward to mostly are Guns and Gears, and one particularly the Ancestry Guide for next year. Lost Ancestry Guide, because it gives you a few unique type of ancestries that I would consider maybe playing in the future.
So is Pathfinder your thing now? You think? Are you sticking to it?
I think so, just because I've invested heavily into it. But as I'm making my own adventure, which will come out hopefully in the winter, for just my friends. I've gotten into the way it works. I've created creatures, I've created items, I've created stuff homebrew, and I find it so easy now that I've read through the books to actually do these things. And yeah, I think it's definitely my thing. But it's like just going on a bit of a rant, but
Rant on a podcast?
No, yeah, surely not.
Oh, that's horrible. We should be like really,
Pathfinder
just
to
speed
me.
it up. Come on, David.
Pathfinder to me, or at least I've been reading it and looking into it. It feels like a base game. There's no. It's not. It's basically just a rule set that's can be modded if you're looking in that way. So you might see something and think, "Huh, that doesn't feel right. Let's mod it out, or at least change it a
Really?
little." Yeah.
It feels the exact opposite to me. Like it's a very rigid system that's relying on everything being there. And if you try to take something out, it's going to fall apart.
Well, not necessarily. I read into a lot of the, as I say, this is just for me from creature building and sort of world building, and they're just going like, okay, for instance, the stacks conditions. You think, okay, these can all remain, but necessarily you can have, if you find that a player is doing something good, why can't you give them like maybe a +2, or if they're doing something in water, -2. Even though it's not in the rules, you can sort of see maybe through a
Yes, but
leveling system how
that's
to
true
do
for
it.
every role playing game.
Mm,
It's not Pathfinder specific. Like if I want to introduce like a bonus to my players for whatever reason, I can do it.
mm. But that's the thing with Pathfinder. In the rule set, it says you can't really do it unless there's a specific rule that's in play. But the more I've read into it, the more I go, if you can seriously alter these, like the world, the character, the NPCs, beyond what they're normally capable of, I'm saying, why can't you do that for the players? Like they've done something cool. Get something like get them invested by
I'll,
including
I'll
something.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you can't do it because Pathfinder works on the assumption that they've covered everything in the rules. So if your player is doing something cool, it should be something cool that's rules governed. So because they have like everything analyzed and given like a bonus or a penalty or whatever, it limits spontaneity,
Yes.
something, uh, because it's already covered. So if I say to my player, "Oh, you know what? Take a +1 for that," I can guarantee you that there's another player that says, "Wait a second, why? When does he get a +1? I had to pay for a feat to get a +1 to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just handing it out."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, it does feel a bit cheaty, I guess, but that's not how I want to game.
Mm.
And I think the system gets in my way because it calculates everything for me and it limits what I can and cannot do instead of sitting in the background and enabling me. It's the other way around. I work for the system instead of the system working for me. That's the
Mm.
sense I get
And that's what
from
that's why you
Pathfinder.
find. Do you find that, Kaz, with at least with D&D, it allows you to create these variants on the rules and stuff because is
It does. However, I mean the best game that I've found is 13th Age, because it combines the traditional D20 kind of rule set, but it's also got the story focused rule set, which is basically rule of cool, and it is a case of if you can convince the GM that you are able to do it within game, then you can do it because it moves the story forward, and it is all about moving the story forward. Whereas
Yeah,
Pathfinder is all about set rigid rules, and I struggle with them big time.
Pathfinder is basically it's amazing for what it is. Don't get me wrong. If that's what you want to play, play Pathfinder. It's the best version of that, definitely. But I want a rule system that's
I want one that
it's
works for me.
yeah, it sits in the back. It doesn't get in the way.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to calculate like 5 different sources of bonuses to my freaking roll, and then I have like 5 conditions on me. Oh, I'm prone plus on fire, and also that guy stared at me badly. That gives me a
But you
-1.
can use a
But my
reaction to
character is also
turn
on
away.
her period, so that gives her -1 to Constitution checks. Uh, yeah, it's like everything is covered, and it's like it feels like I'm an accountant.
Yeah. It's like you're playing, as I say, when I thought the Pathfinder originally. Remember that they did Kingsmaker? Is it Kingsmaker? I thought when I first saw that, I went, "Oh, is that an expansion for the Pathfinder game?" No, it's an actual video game. Yeah, so say from my knowledge, it's very much all the rules of Pathfinder in a tabletop video game sort of setup. From reviews I've heard,
Keep in mind that Kingmaker is first edition Pathfinder.
but from my limited knowledge of Kingsmaker, anyway, is that, as I say, it very much sums up what Pathfinder for me is. Uh, it's a very much it's a video game tabletop system for me, because there are so many rules, so many things that affect other things. Those normally would be only set aside for a video game or
You're
an
not wrong.
RPG.
I think Pathfinder as a rule system would lend itself really good to use as a base for a computer game, because it feels very computer gamey.
And I think that's why I'm so hooked into it, because for my studies of gaming and all that, I'm kind of like understanding it a little better once I get into that mindset. And where I think it could expand is sort of like saying like uh, a weighing, a balance system.
My problem with that is I don't want to play a video game. If I want to play a video game, I'll play a video game, not a role-playing game. That's the problem I had with 4th edition as well. It wasn't a bad system, but it felt like I was playing World of Warcraft.
I wonder
if I want to play World of Warcraft, I'll play World of Warcraft.
I wonder if that's because with 3.5 edition of Dungeons and Dragons, that inspired Pathfinder, didn't it? And maybe they wanted to expand on those rules, but then finding like maybe going too far in this direction, maybe we'll make it a little bit more rules light and engage more in the story. And I think that's where Pathfinder went, is just like they wanted to continue where 3.54 left off and continue down that direction for those players who liked it.
No, because Pathfinder is a branch of 3.5. So it started when 3.5 came out, which was Wizards' attempt of fixing the problems of 3. And Pathfinder was like, you know what, we don't like those changes, and we're going to go down our own path, because OGL allowed them to do that. So they took the system, they modified it a bit, because they still wanted to maintain compatibility with 3.5. And that's Pathfinder 1, basically. Pathfinder 2 is obviously not compatible anymore, because they went there like totally different way. But yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. I mean, it's an amazing system for those who are looking for such a system, but it's definitely not for me. Like, it takes too much effort, and the system is on the spotlight instead of the players, and I don't like that.
And focuses more on the gameplay than the actual stories that really ties you into a world.
Yeah, because the rewards and the fun of the system comes from using the mechanics that are built around combat. So if you're not doing combat, you're not really having fun with the system.
No, as I say,
and
that
as evident with our last couple of sessions, it was like combat.
Yeah, and that
And then a
brings
session of role playing for which the DM apologized. I'm like, dude, this was the most enjoyable session we've had. Like the
yeah.
last sessions. Why are we apologizing?
No, I don't think he apologized.
Oh,
I think
sorry, we didn't have any combat.
no, I think he
Uh,
said that he was sorry that we took so long in caverns and caves and all that kind of stuff. He wanted us to get back into the main city, but I
If
digress
he
from
wanted
that.
us to get back to the main city, why did he introduce a fucking dragon as an encounter?
That's a
Are you
great shout.
joking? See,
Well-
from what you guys have told me about your sessions, I wouldn't have enjoyed them at all.
Mm.
See, that's the crazy thing, Kaz, though. You would have enjoyed the non-combat aspect of it because it was like the world was really nice and the interactions were really, really
Oh, yeah.
nice.
It was
But
great.
when combat happened, everything grinds to a halt
Yeah.
because like everyone has 3 actions, and then you have to calculate all the things. And I'm like, oh, I touched you. I'm giving you these 2 conditions. Make sure you jot them down. Okay, but I had these 2 conditions. Are they still active from like 2 sessions ago? Yeah, I'm afraid they're still active. Oh, okay.
Really?
So now I have this thing and this thing. So I have a -2.
Yeah, but that's what I
But
mean.
then
I think the rules.
no, Kaz. But then I have this feat. See, that counterbalance is one of the things you gave me. So that -4 is actually a -3 for me. You
Oh,
see? So now I'm gonna roll with a -3, whereas you would roll with -4. I'm so much better than you.
oh,
Um,
that
I can be arsed. Like,
you know, like when you think from an outsider sort of interpretation of D&D, that's what they think of is numbers. Really, it's kind of like saying, "Oh, I've got to plus this and this." If you were to talk to, or even watch any sort of like parody, that's all they go on about.
oh,
And in a way,
that's why I hate like the only good representation of D&D in a TV series, in my opinion at least,
Mhm.
was the IT crowd. That's the
Oh
only
yeah,
the only one that got it at least a bit close. Like if you try to get your idea of what D&D is by watching The Big Bang Theory, for instance, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is that? Who wants to play that? That's
Mm.
awful."
No. To be honest, I thought it was very interesting the way they did it in Big Bang Theory, but it was
It was
glamour.
it was parody.
It was a
They made
very
a parody of
glamour.
the game.
Mm.
Like what was the fucking thing where like Wolowitz does uh, impressions of famous people's in D&D? Like what was that about?
I don't know. They glorify it a little bit. But
FYI, I've never watched Big Bang Theory, so
yeah, but you've
I
never
wouldn't
even
get.
watched Friends, or until recently, you hadn't even watched Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
He
So
hasn't watched Lord of the Rings. Yes.
no.
oh yeah, why are we friends with him?
Why are you even on this podcast?
Yeah, what do you bring to this podcast?
Oh,
Oh,
I bought you
I know.
Samuel Nook
What
in
are your
Call of
geek
Cthulhu.
credentials, David?
What?
What are your geek credentials?
My geek credentials. I watch a lot of. I play a lot of games, a lot of weird games. As I say, Pathfinder's my thing. As I say, I'm more of a collector of weird
To be honest,
items, but
I think David brings to this the daytime television and
oh no,
nighttime
not
television sort of thing.
His unique view on the world.
Yeah,
yeah,
his unique view of, well, this is David.
yeah. That's what I bring.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's got to be at least one David in the world, and I'm glad we found him.
Yay, we found our David.
Yay!
Uh, I'm
Uh,
glad. But
I have a TV series topic if we're done with role playing games. But
Yeah.
sorry, David, I interrupted you.
Hmm?
You were saying something and I interrupted you.
no, I don't think you interested me at all, really. I was going to go on to a topic of sort of like. I was actually going to go on to a weird thing. What they can bring to the thing. What is the weirdest set of dice you have?
The weirdest dice I have.
Yes, or have seen.
Oh, that's 2 very different questions.
Oh,
I mean,
just
it was that
you
guy
have.
or that person who made dice out of human bones. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, there was a thing. Someone made some dice out of human bones.
How did we even get licensed for that?
Well, supposedly they were donated.
Ah.
But I mean, there was uproar about it when it got to social media.
Oh, Memento Mori D20. There it is.
But yeah, it was.
I like the name Memento Mori. Remember that you're gonna die.
Yeah. So it has happened. There's quite a few people who've done dice out of human bones. But that's probably the weirdest dice I've ever seen. I don't own any. I don't think I'd want to own any.
Why not?
Okay, they don't look that pretty, and I'm all about the pretty dice. They're kind of boring. I know it's awful saying that about someone's bones, but they're not. They're not
No,
bright,
that's
colourful.
fine. If that's the reason you don't want to own it, that's fine. I thought you were being weirded out by the
No.
fact that it's human bone. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
That don't bother me. They used to make them out of human bone before. They used to make them out of ivory. They make them out of all sorts. That doesn't bother me. They're just. I'd never use them because obviously they might break, and they would cost an absolute fortune to buy in the first place. And putting them out on display, it's kind of like you'd only be able to tell people you've got them if they came around and went, "Oh, they're interesting dice. Why are they separate?"
What if you had custom dice made from dead relatives, and you could be like, "This is grandma, and this is grandpa."
No, that's actually a thing.
When I die, don't cremate me. Make me into dice, and pass me over to people to play with.
No, they can actually combine you into. Is it glass or something like that? I have questions
they
in work.
say like diamonds and stuff, don't they? But
Yeah, you can sort of like encrust them into into bits of glass. So why can't you do it into? It's like make a set of glittery dice, but that glitters is actually your.
Because I don't like glitter, David. If you make me into glittery dice, I'm gonna haunt you.
To be honest, as long as I am no longer a corpse, I don't care what you do with my body. This is why I'm donated to science and all sorts, because I think as long as I get cremated at the end of it or something, there's nothing left for me to come back as a zombie. I'm good. No zombie here. Not happening.
Speaking of zombies, this is a perfect segment for the topic I had for the TV series.
All right.
So, Kaz, you wouldn't love this TV series because it starts with a bunch of dead people coming back to life, digging themselves out of their graves.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Are they zombies though? Because like people being reincarnated doesn't bother me.
Look, I've only watched one episode of it, and I think it's called Glitch, the TV series.
I've seen that. Yeah, that doesn't bother me because they're not zombies. They're like reincarnated people. Well, okay. So
technically, if you come back from the dead, I don't know, if you dig yourself out of a grave.
I think it's not necessarily the science behind it that bothers me. I think what bothers me about
if you watch more than one episode, by the way, don't spoil it for me.
I have already seen a few episodes, but I won't. But going away from the TV series, the whole point of zombies for me is the way they act, and I don't know what it is, but I think it's the mindless act of wanting to destroy. It's the mindless act of destroying because I can watch.
So if the zombie was like, "Hey, Kaz, I just came back from the dead," you'd be like, "Fine, I don't give a shit."
I would be like, okay, that's a bit weird. I kind of like, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but I wouldn't be worried if they came towards me with their arms stretched out trying to eat me. Then I'd be panicked.
That's where you draw the line.
That's where I draw the line. Yeah, people coming back to life. That's fine if they want to do that. I've got absolutely no problem with vampires or,
But even they're undead, aren't they?
Yeah, they're undead. The undead part does not bother me at all. It's the fact that you can't reason with them is my problem.
So if a zombie can converse with you and you can,
it wouldn't bother me as much.
It wouldn't bother you.
Not as much, no. I think I'd still be worried that they're a zombie that they're trying to eat me, but I could at least try and reason with them.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, come on, don't eat me. That's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, come on, I'm not very tasty. And I would try and obviously talk my way out of it, but it's when they don't listen, and I think that's what panics me is yeah.
Isn't that the thing of have you ever seen Warm Bodies?
Yes. See, I didn't mind that. That did not bother
Yeah,
me.
because there was that sort of middle ground where they had those who were, as you define, zombies, but then there were others who needed something to become people
Yeah.
again.
I read the book before I watched the film. I read the book because the book was out way before the film, obviously.
I haven't seen the book.
Oh,
Well, I haven't read the book or seen the movie.
It's been around for a while now, so if we spoil it, we're not spoiling it for the listeners. It's not a new film. But basically, it's about the concept of people who have become zombies one way or the other, and they turn back to being human due to love. Essentially, when they
yeah.
feel love, they turn human
Ugh.
again. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
teen flick basically.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one guy who is a zombie, and he essentially falls in love with a girl who found herself in the base of the zombies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Wasn't it
falls in love.
because he ate the brain
He ate the brain
of
of
the
this girl's
boyfriend?
boyfriend. When they eat the brain, they get the slight inkling. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous. They get the slight inkling of the
Uh,
person
The
they've eaten,
memories and the
memories and shit. So he ate the brain
so
and
now
decided
does
to
the
live
girl
life.
fall in love with said zombie?
Eventually, yes,
yeah.
Oh
It
because
takes
God,
a
as
while.
I said, it's a
that
teen
sounds
flick.
so bad. I want to watch it now.
It is so funny. The book is way better, by the way. So fun,
Mhm.
so much funnier than the film. Because obviously, as always, the books are always generally better than the films. I found it so funny. It was hilarious. The film, it was okay, but
I got on my Blu-ray collection, so I
oh,
liked it a
okay.
lot.
You obviously like it a lot more than I do,
Yeah.
but essentially, yes. So they eat the brains of the people and they get the memories of those people that they've eaten the brain of. And because of that, he starts to develop feelings for the girlfriend of the guy's brain that he ate, and that starts turning him more human.
That's such a ridiculous premise. Sorry.
Yes,
But
I
it
it
mean,
is.
actually gives him a reason for why to go
I
after
mean, the
him.
actual premise has been done before in horror. Like, you consume someone's essence and you get,
Get
their
their
feelings
feelings and
and
stuff, yeah.
thoughts and all that. Yeah, that's fine. But like making it into a love story, I don't
They
know.
have made it into a love story, and that's basically what it is. It's a teen love story, teen romance, and obviously it's so funny, so funny. We should definitely put it into our book club as one of the books to read because
Oh God.
I think you should read it. I think you'd find it so it would be funny. It is
Uh,
funny, but in a bad kind of way because it's like oh, it's
That's the
cringy but
thing,
so
though. It
funny.
doesn't. It's not its intention to be funny.
I know
It's
some
funny
of it
because
is
it's bad.
it is intended to be funny as
It's
well.
like the movie. It's like the movie The Room.
oh yeah.
Uh, I've yet to
Oh hi,
actually
Mark.
watch that. I still haven't watched it. I
Okay, we need to have another segment then. That's bad movies that we need to watch, and The
Oh,
Room should be like number one in that.
right. Okay.
Like,
Well, I
it's
do
the
plan to watch
worst
it.
bad movie. It's the best worst bad movie ever.
Right.
It's
Okay.
so bad, it's good. Like the guy who made it so desperately wanted to make it as an actor that he wrote the script, directed it, starred in it, did the editing, and he did everything. Like you watch the credits, and it's one guy, Tommy Wiseau. Like it's
yeah. Even
you have
even
to see it.
and even have you ever watched a Disaster Room?
Yeah.
The film Disaster Room, based on the book. Yes, to say that pretty much. I didn't know how much of a sort of like influence he was until I watched that movie and I kind of got the gist. And yeah, to say, oh my goodness, I watched The Room and I didn't feel much of it, think much of it, but
Unfortunately,
I
there's
heard that it was
horrible
pretty
movies.
good.
yeah,
Really.
I was going into it knowing that this is a cult classic, but not a good cult classic. It's just infamous, you know.
I'm sorry, Kaz, what did you say?
I had heard it was quite good.
Okay, there's two movies. There is Room and The Room.
Right. Okay.
One of them was an Oscar-nominated movie. The other one is crap.
So which one are we talking about?
We're talking about the crap one called The Room.
The Room. Right, okay.
Yeah. I think it's The Room. It might be. Okay, so. Oh, God. Yeah, The Room.
Never mind. I'm looking. I've googled The Room and already looks terrible.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the main guy. That's Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
it's. Oh, seriously.
I'm looking at it. It does look.
We have to have a viewing party and watch it.
I don't think I want to watch that.
Like,
I think that's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back.
You do want to watch it.
don't
You're
think
gonna
I do.
laugh your ass off. It's so funny, Kaz.
Alright,
It's unintentionally funny. Like you're gonna pick up so many like lines from that movie.
I don't.
Oh, hi, Mark is one of them.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, you'll see. You'll
But it's
see.
after a scene of just like isn't it a scene of shouting? He does "Oh, hi, Mark."
It's like the transitions. Like he's doing a scene where his girlfriend has accused him of hitting her, and he hasn't hit her. So he's like really mad. And he's like, "I didn't hit her. I didn't." And then like he walks into a place where his friend Mark is, and he's like, "Oh, hi, Mark." Like, the fuck?
That sounds
was like,
bad acting.
Like, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. I don't
you
wanna.
think I should watch this?
You should definitely 100% watch it.
Right, okay.
Make sure you watch it with friends, so you have someone to wipe your tears from laughing.
Yeah, well, pony. So sort of like. Oh,
Anyway, so back to the glitch. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. Continue.
I really like the intro of that TV series, and I think it's so important for a TV series to grab your attention immediately, especially now that we're bombarded with so many TV series vying for our attention. I want like if a TV series has a bad pilot, I usually won't give it another chance. I'm gonna move on. And I know there are some good TV series out there that I've missed because they had a bad pilot.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I don't know if this one is a good TV series, but the pilot grabbed me, and I'm gonna watch the second episode now.
I thought it was alright. I think I stopped watching a couple of episodes in though. I'm not sure why.
So it might not be a great.
It might
TV
not
series.
be. I can't remember why I stopped watching it. But I did.
Like, as I say, have you got any other ones like that you started to watch and then you went, like, for me that's the Dragon Prince. Have you ever heard of the Dragon Prince?
I have, yeah. Is that not good?
It's good, but it piles so much on you that you're expected to know. And that's why I can't get into it, and also the animation.
Is that the? Oh, I was gonna ask. Is that an animated
It
thing?
is
Yeah.
animated, yeah.
If you watch
it, are not animated, David.
not really actually, apart from One Division, which I'm catching up with now, but no, not really.
Have you watched the first 2 episodes of that yet?
I have, yes.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Good already.
That's One Division.
It's basically the Marvel characters, Wanda and
The Vision.
the Vision, yeah. Basically, I mean, this is a massive spoiler for those that haven't watched any of the Avengers films recently.
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. The ones that were like 2 years ago.
I mean,
Wanda and Vision get together, and this is basically their life, but it seems to be filmed as though it's at the moment it's like a 50s sitcom. That's how it's filmed, these first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Supposedly it goes through and gets filmed like a 70s and then 80s and then whatever.
Every decade, yeah.
Yeah.
Up to 2020.
But so far there's a few things that don't obviously sit right. I can't say anything because those people that haven't watched it yet, it would ruin it for them. But there's already things that aren't sitting right with the thing itself. So it's looking amazing. I've watched a lot of the first 2 episodes, and
but if that's the thing with a lot of these shows, they kind of, when you have a show that has so much speculation around it, you would get hundreds and hundreds of speculation videos and
Just don't watch them.
But they're good
I haven't been
shows. It's
watching
like,
it. I haven't been watching any of the
if you're curious, then the
looking into
guy
the
who made the
theories
video
yet.
has accomplished his goal. Just ignore it.
yeah, like
It's the same with spoilers. Like, I've never been spoiled about a TV series I want to watch. It's like you have to actually go looking for spoilers.
No, you don't.
no.
No, if you've
Just
got
scroll
any
through
social
Twitter.
media at all, people post on social media, and then you know how you've got Google, what's it called, like the Google
News.
Discovery News and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
I've
scroll
missed.
through that to find stuff, and sometimes I've had spoilers, and I think you've just kind of
It's
ruined it for me. Why
it's
would you
based
do
on
that?
search history as well. So if you
Yeah.
say like, I go on Amazon Prime on my PC, for instance, and I search that in Google Chrome to get it up. Google knows that I've got that on the news, and so we pick up ads based on that. And I've spoiled. I spoiled the Bake Off with that. I spoiled Star Wars with that. I've spoiled
Bake Off. Oh my god!
I know. I've spoiled.
Sorry.
I spoiled loads of stuff. I love Bake Off. Honestly, it's such a good show. I know.
To be fair, I watched Bake Off a few years ago because I hadn't watched it before, and I don't know what season we were in at that point.
How
And
can
my
you
friends,
spoil like a show about celebrities cooking?
it's not
No
celebrities.
celebrities.
It's very rarely celebrities. But I watched it one season of it, and I thought that's actually not bad until I found out that it was basically rigged from the very start.
Yeah.
Everything on the
Some
TV
guy
is
won
98%
because
scripted.
I don't know whether they were just going for I don't know what they were going for, but they picked him to win, even though he was producing some really awful things towards the end of
I think I know who you're thinking of at the moment.
probably because it
Yeah.
was so obvious that it was rigged. He'd got Star Baker, which is basically best baker of the week or whatever. He got it once, and then after that he started going downhill drastically. And there
My,
were other people who were
my
doing really
question
well,
is,
and he
can you ever get the
still got it.
title of Master Baker?
No, it's only ever Star Baker because
Yeah.
it's
No,
family friendly show, isn't it?
but don't they call them that at the very end if they win it? No, they don't.
No, they don't call them a master baker. They never, ever, ever, because it's a family show, call someone a master baker.
What's wrong with Master Baker, Kaz?
Too much.
If you want well, it is a family show, but it's not a family show in a way. Watch Great Pottery Throwdown. They make so many innuendos.
I probably will not watch that. I did at one point in time watch as sad as it is, one about trains, model trains, but only
That's actually interesting though.
because I watched it for the sceneries they did, because they had to set up a whole scenery for this obviously train to go on, and they had like a certain amount of time to do it. They were allowed to bring 3 items.
And that is called a diorama, kids.
Yeah, and they set up the scenery for it, and I was like, this is amazing. And they had a certain amount of time to do it. They had lights and sounds and like little bits of smoke and stuff like that coming off, and some of them were amazing. But then I do paint D&D models and stuff for stuff like that, so I like the scenery better than the.
I still haven't painted the one you got me for Christmas.
Well, to be honest, I don't think you've painted any.
Sounds so surprised.
Yeah, to be honest, I've got stuff.
God. It's not a courtroom drama, David.
Yeah,
Come on.
to be fair, you're not a real hobbyist if you haven't got 100 unpainted models.
I've got my little Nock, but that's it.
I've got
and also my Samuel Nook as well.
Didn't you get that painted? Didn't you get that already painted?
Yes, I did.
Right, okay.
Oh, I see your point.
Yeah, I've got so many unpainted models. I've got to crack on with them, to be honest.
I've got a Cthulhu one. I've got the
Did
Minotaur
I get you a
one.
Cthulhu one as well?
That was like a
That
couple of
was a
years
few
back.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to stop getting you models that you're never going to paint, or paint them for you and gift them to you like that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Kaz, step it up. What's this unpainted miniature that you're gifting me?
You've got
Come
paint.
on.
You're supposed to paint them.
Yeah. The only time I've ever painted anything was when you were here.
One
You
time I came round and said, "You
Oh
better
yeah,
paint
you
something."
wanted to do that paint day, didn't you?
Yeah. I didn't actually paint though, because I just made you that Cthulhu plaque thing.
Yeah, but you did crafting.
I did
You did,
crafting, yeah.
yeah. That was really cool, by the way. I still, yeah,
I should
I have
hope
that.
you've still got it. It took me
But
hours to do.
of course I do, and it's still like securely in its box, so it doesn't break or anything.
It's got its own box.
Yeah, it's the one you brought it in.
Wait, I bought it in a box? I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, you did. It was really cool, though, and it rivals things that like same type of things that people sell. And, like, it definitely should sell that.
Hmm. Was that when you
Actually,
model?
get a mold and like.
Okay, so explain to our viewers what it is, Vass.
Yeah, so it's basically like a prop for our Call of Cthulhu game because we were playing Masks of Nyarlathotep, and the players come across this like. I love that David's like he wasn't there.
I was there.
That's very interesting. Keep talking, Vas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds very fascinating.
Yes. I'm being the viewer.
Oh, okay. That's the viewer's point of view. Okay.
So yeah, it was like this broken seal from the bent pyramid, or was it the red pyramid? It was
I
the
think
red
it was the
pyramid
red pyramid, yeah.
It was, yeah.
that the investigators are supposed to find. So Kaz kindly made a real life model of that, and it was really really cool.
I don't know if it's a real life. It's made of clay rather than stone.
Well, it's not real life because Nyarlathotep is probably not real,
Oh,
and
true.
probably we don't know.
Well, we
I
don't
mean,
know.
we can't prove it. It's like
But
God.
it was made out of, basically, it looks like an ancient stone with hieroglyphs on it. And I made a clay-ish. It's like a polymer clay version of it. If I'd done it in real clay, it would have broken way too easily.
That was really. It looks so good. Like it looks like something you would find. I don't know, like in an actual dig site. You know.
Yeah. It had that detailing to it, at least with the
Tried to
edges.
give it the right texture as well. Matte varnish rather than gloss.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we could do was like age it and to make it even better.
Yeah, I mean
Tea-stain
it's
it.
supposed to. It's already aged looking, but it's obviously not got dirt type stuff on it.
Yeah,
It probably needs
should
a layer of dust or something attached to it, but it would have made a lot of mess.
it looks amazing as it is.
I don't know. You put it up on a Cthulhu site somewhere, didn't you?
I did, and people were freaking out over it.
Was it? What was the story that we how we found it? Wasn't it like we had a series of
We
good?
found
I
it in
can't
two
remember.
parts. We went into the home of a man who had been at the dig site, and they had half of it hidden in a vase in their home,
Yeah.
and the other half,
The other one you actually found on the site.
yeah. So
that was the session. I wasn't. I can't recall if I was there for that one.
you may not have been.
That was the one when you went.
Physically, or do you mean physically there?
Physically there, yeah.
Oh,
I
his
was
character
there as
was
the
definitely
character.
there, but
I honestly can't remember.
It was
was
the
so
session
long
I
ago
heard
now.
about, and I went, "Oh, I wish I was there."
It was so long ago.
Were you there for when we went into the chamber of Nyarlathotep?
No, I wasn't there.
Yeah, because that was the session. Okay, you really missed that session. Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Man,
I
that was
did.
a good session. I told Nyarlathotep to shut up.
I tried to get the day off, but
It
I
wasn't
Yeah.
unfortunately could not. No. Even though I did it a week in
I can't
advance,
believe
I
I
did
said
not.
that to him.
At least I scribbled down the map that was on the wall,
Yeah.
which helped us later.
Yeah. You weren't there, but I did say that you'd done it.
Yeah, thank you. I can use my arts and crafts
So
skill.
we've got an arty guy. Get him to draw it. Okay, sure.
I know.
Yeah,
Samuel is more
basically, Kaz
professional
was
than me.
the puppet master, and you were her puppet.
Basically, but isn't that even when he's there, he's like that?
Yeah.
But sometimes I break
That says
loose.
more about me than it does you, David. Don't worry.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
It does say a fair bit about both of you, to be honest.
Ah,
I know.
that makes me sound awful, doesn't it?
But also
I mean,
makes me sound like I would always do if I'm
You're a little
pressured.
bit of a pushover sometimes.
I think it's a case of like I don't want someone to be upset or someone to be things, so I just do it.
Yeah. You're too
Yeah.
nice.
yeah,
That's
that's
the
called the
problem.
pushover, David.
Hmm?
That's called the pushover.
Oh.
The problem is you're too nice and I'm not.
Oh, you're nice.
I'm not too nice.
But according to some people.
Not according to some people, but I'm not too nice, and that's the defining feature there. Is I'm not too nice, and I think you might be.
We should ask Rob, although he's biased.
He is very biased. He is
Just get
so
him on his own.
biased. He would agree that I am not that nice because I've conditioned him to tell people that. Well, you know how I say, look, don't say I'm nice in front of other people because then they'll get the wrong idea and they'll actually think I'm nice and expect things from me. So
Can you imagine saying don't tell people I'm nice because they're gonna get the wrong idea?
yeah,
Like,
I have a
what?
reputation to uphold. I've
No,
worked on this
no, you
reputation
don't.
for
You're not like a
years.
villain.
Oh yeah, but
You're not like Stalin or Hitler.
no, but that doesn't mean I'm a nice person.
Oh, you are
Just
nice.
because I'm not that bad doesn't mean I'm a nice person. Give over.
I mean, no one is like an angel, I guess, apart from
David's
David.
pretty. David's
David
pretty
might be an
angel-like.
angel,
He might
according to
very
his
well
mom.
be. Yeah,
Little
her little angel.
Little angel. Oh, come watch Bake Off with me, David.
It's not just him; it's the whole family. It sounds like his family all like each other, which I find
Yeah, I
so
mean,
strange.
what's up with that? You're like from a happy family. Like
You and your siblings like each other?
you
Well,
support each other.
I say
Or you?
we deal with each other. That's the best
I
word.
don't
But
know.
we all are happy.
It sounds like you lot all like each other. Now I've got 5 siblings, and I cannot tell you that we all like each other all of the time. We tend to like each other more when we don't see each other.
We've had a few days out.
A month or so, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. There's no way that we all like each other all of the time. There's too many of us for that to happen, firstly. But it sounds like you genuinely all like each other. And I find that so strange.
Either that, or they've hit like the balance of some of them are really opinionated, and then David is like, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to upset anyone." So that's why they get along.
So nice.
That might be the reason why.
That's why he's
Yeah.
so nice, because he's just learned that there's no point in arguing because the people
Because
who are,
he's been conditioned,
he has
Kaz,
been
like you
conditioned.
do with Rob.
Yep.
I now
Didn't take me
feel your
long
pain,
to
Rob.
sort him out. Did not take me long to sort him out at all. He's listening to this. He's our one and only listener currently. Bless
We
him.
might have a Robin, but that's because she
Yeah.
was on the lost episode, or the episode we might put out, but not
Once we put this out, though, I mean, we're gonna
0.5.
maybe have like 2 listeners, guys.
Ooh.
You never know.
How exciting would that be? I'm so sorry, other listener.
Also,
I'm
who
going
the
to
fuck are you?
apologise now.
Can
I'm
you
so
drop us
A
a
sorry.
single
message?
listen. Actually, we don't really need to explain because he already knows most of our
Excuse me,
the
but our
systems.
second listener might be a woman.
That is true,
Or
but
neither. We can't really do that. The whole he or she thing. They
they.
could be. I apologise to them.
Don't. Yes.
But
Let's
I love doing
not
that.
go there.
Mine's
Let's
passed
not
up
go
so
there.
much.
Ooh.
It's great.
that was it. That was it. The one topic I wanted to get on to really. All right. So you've got a fantasy setting,
Hmm.
but it has comedy as a part of that fantasy setting.
Always.
What
yeah.
what kind of comedy would you have in that fantasy setting? And
Terry Pratchett.
Oh,
how
yeah.
like in a role playing,
That's my one answer.
where it's sort of subtle but also serious at the same time.
No.
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 If you're gonna have
Completely and
comedy, don't be
utterly.
serious. Like throw serious out of the window. There's no point.
All right,
Make
David.
the most ridiculous world you can think of, and present it as normal.
Yes. So, okay, David, you know that game we played before where you guys all charmed this giant rat into being your best friend? Whatever else you did, and you drop kicked the badger across a ravine,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't serious in any way, shape, or form, was it?
Nope.
That's my sort of comedy.
I was chatting to Tash yesterday,
Mm.
and she was playing her D&D game, and where is it? Yeah. I asked her, "Oh, how's your D&D session going?" And she replied, "Going well. We just got visited by a naked dude that fell from the ceiling, and we're about to hunt down a mad tailor." And I'm like, "That sounds like an amazing
That
session."
does sound awesome. Is that the Icewind Dale one?
Yes.
No,
Wasn't
that's
there?
To say, because
it's not the one.
I
It's
haven't
not the
gotten
one
to that
she's
bit in the
running.
book yet.
It's not the one she's running. It's the one she's playing
Oh,
in.
it's the one she's playing.
Mm.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
because I haven't gotten to that bit in the book yet. If that
Well,
happens,
with,
I'm missing that completely.
with the mad tailor.
Yeah.
No, I would say probably my directive comedy, in a way, is kind of like there are subtle elements, but it makes the seriousness of, say, like a backstory or a story
So
a bit
you're
more
looking
real.
more for like a comic relief rather than like a comedy setting.
Yeah, it's kind of like they try to they get through the day or get through the story by joking, but when the things get serious, that's when they stop joking. It's sort of a way to like overcome a lot of the weight and the
I'd like to think the games that I've run so far are like that.
I mean, we had
Players that bring the
comedy in
comedy
fact in
into it.
Call of Cthulhu. It's not, we had laughs in Call of Cthulhu, so it's
Yeah, I
not
think
no,
it's the
but
players that bring the comedy to the game.
exactly. And trust me, you don't have to tell players to be silly for them to be silly.
No.
They'll do that themselves.
Oh yes.
So unless you want a silly campaign,
yeah,
like don't worry about inserting comedy. That your players will do that.
Oh yeah. There will not be any. As long as you've got the right players.
Like
I've played with a lot of people who aren't funny.
after like 25 years of DMing, I've gotten to the point now where like I'll run across like an NPC and I'll see their name and I'm like, nope, I'm not saying that name to my group because I know
Yeah,
they're gonna make
exactly.
fun of.
Yes, you have to change the name of the NPCs, otherwise
yeah.
they will make a joke of it.
They're gonna be like, oh, is his name actually Pooper? And then that's the name of that NPC forever and ever and
yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's why I don't get invited to as many tables anymore.
oh,
Hey, look, I'm just baggy pips. Okay, I know I need to explain to the listeners, but you guys
I mean,
know
Mike
what I
Pips
mean.
was an isolated incident, and
Baggy pips
not
was freaking awesome.
he
He was one of the funniest
he was
characters
he
I've
was
ever
he
played.
was he was awesome for what he was and what his intent was, which was to be a distraction.
Well, I was told you have half an hour to come up with a character. He never said it had to be a super serious character. He gave me half an hour to come up with a character.
It's not their fault that he decided to play this super gritty war veteran-y story as a one shot.
And I decided to come up with. All right, I
like these
basically
characters.
pulled the character out of a hat, and it turned out to be a half orc bard called Baggy Pips, who carried bagpipes around with him. But because I rolled so badly, he was basically a cheerleader. But he cheered like, "Go you!" And that was it. He wasn't very good at anything. He would
Technically,
cheer.
that's cheerleading.
Yeah, he was just bad. He would cheer in the sense of, yeah, team, woo.
See, when I hear one shot, I hear this is your chance to make that character that you will never get into a normal game.
Yes, always.
Yeah, and that's why my one shots are usually like, "Oh, let's play gangsters in Call of Cthulhu." That's cool.
Oh, remember, not Big Mabel.
Big Mama's
what was the
awesome.
Big Mama's?
Big Mama was awesome.
And she saved the day, didn't she? With
well, I don't know what she
did. Or was it Elisa's character? I can't remember. That shot the.
No, Big Mama. She blew up the place.
Blew up the tank. Yeah.
Of course she did. So if there's fire and I'm around, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be me who caused it.
I need to run the sequel to that and convince Liz to play.
I think she'll be more up for it. Yeah, she's looking to play more.
I think she'll be okay for a one shot.
Yeah, but I mean, I love playing silly characters. I don't do rules, and I don't do serious.
But see, like
games.
Big Mama Fletcher wasn't a silly character. She was a fun character to play.
She was hardcore.
She was so over the top, you know.
Yeah, but I kind of made her over the top a lot, didn't I? I don't do serious.
You kind of have to when your name is Big Mama Fletcher.
I could have been like scary and serious with her.
Yeah, or you could be like a retired boxer. That's really, if you like,
a retired boxer who's supposed to be stupid because he's been punched in the face too many times.
Yeah,
and is actually quite articulated.
Yeah, I've seen
a Yorkshire accent
so many times that he's actually gone smart.
But didn't I say that the more
frequently?
the more the more punches I took from certain people, I took on their personalities. Wasn't it?
I don't know. Like you just seemed to get smarter the more you got punched. It was like they were punching common sense.
I really think, David, that you should start playing characters that are closer to you as David to begin with, because you'll find it easier.
I think you would, yeah.
And also, you'll play more believable characters, and it will be more fun for you.
That's
as well.
why I thought Nook was very much like David. I still have no idea about his backstory. Not a clue.
No one does.
We played for 3 years? Not a clue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about him. Like my character, you know everything about her backstory. You know, Dr. Shelley. Okay,
most,
but I didn't keep a huge amount secret. No. It's just because she didn't talk about her life that much. She didn't keep it secret.
We should do the Nuke Chronicles after
we have to. Because I haven't got a clue. After playing for 3 years.
The Beaver years.
The Beaver years. After playing for 3 years, I still have not got a clue about your character.
The Pelt Farm. Oh my goodness.
I don't know
Canadian
about
Pelt
that.
Farm.
The listeners are going, what? I'm
going what? And I was the DM for that game.
I don't know either. What? I haven't got a clue what's going on.
Should we wrap up this podcast?
I need to before it starts going down a rabbit hole of stuff.
Who's gonna do the outro? Come on, guys.
Okay.
David.
Oh, me in the outro. Oh my god.
I'm trusting David for the outro, Kaz.
Yeah, because I think it would leave people on at least a humorous note.
Okay.
After sitting there for 5 minutes going, what on earth are they talking about?
Okay, so David, let's say goodbye to our podcast viewers. And
right then. I think that's before we get into the Chronicles of Nook, maybe for another time. I think we best end it off here. I think we'll recharge our batteries, re-roll our dice, warm up again, and start again another time. But for now, that's me, David, signing off.
That's me, Vas, trying not to crack up.
I don't even know what to say. Kaz, see you guys soon.
Thanks for tuning in, people. We're going to see you when we see you next.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you listened to this.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.